Hey everybody, Target Pistol Guy. I hope you're doing well. We are in the dojo. Isn't that exciting? And in this video, we're going to talk about a very controversial subject, so get ready for controversy. 1911 platform, which is better? 45 ACP or 9mm? I don't know. We're going to find out. This is an opinion of one, my curated opinion based on my experience as a bullseye participant. If you're not a bullseye participant, that's fine. You just like the 1911 platform and you're thinking, man, maybe 9, maybe 45. I'm going to point you in the right direction, at least, according to my opinion. But if you're out there and you're hunting for distinguished points in the CMP's EIC program, you've got a choice. 45 ACP, traditional, robust, powerful, American. 9mm, tiny, fast, accurate, European. Which do you go with? It's been a topic of conversation ever since they changed rules in, I think, like 2016. And now that I've had time on both platforms, I'm going to render my opinion using this very detailed thing. And at the end, stick around, comment below if you watch the whole video. I'll tell you a couple models that I think I would do. So like if I had a certain budget, where I would go and what I would think about. All right, so here we go. 1911, 9mm, 1911, 45. Scoring, accuracy, sight adjustment, recoil, weight, ammo availability, ammo cost, hand load love, available models, and cost of the platform. And then finally, our winner. This is how we get stuff done on Target Pistol Guy. All right, let's get started. Here are our models. This is a Chambers Custom 1911 45 ACP. Stock configuration, unloaded. Mr. or Mrs. YouTube monitor / bot. This is a custom built gun. 1911 9mm. I've been shooting them both. All right, here we go. Are you ready? 9mm versus 45 ACP. Scoring. So we are talking about this in terms of an accuracy sport. There are bulls right here. The clear winner in terms of scoring is 45 ACP because you are shooting a larger projectile. So just mathematically, that projectile has a larger percentage mathematical chance of breaking a scoring ring with a larger, diameter projectile. The 9mm is 0.355. The 45, I think, is like 0.5452, something like that. It's that much better. More importantly, the better the shooter you are, the more this might matter in terms of scoring, just in this little category, because the smaller surface area that your group tends to be, the more important the mathematical advantage is. So, scoring, clear winner, obviously, 45. All right, next, accuracy. I don't build 1911s, but I use them. I have heard from people who build them that it is easier to get a more accurate 9mm than it is 45. That being said, in my observation of many 1911s over the years, I find them at really almost every level, maybe more so if you're in the budget space. I think your 9mm is going to be more accurate. Like if you're in the production class or semi-production, semi-custom. But amongst bullseye platforms, and custom platforms, I would say they're essentially equal. I have seen 45 1911s that group 1 inch at 50 yards, and I have seen, 9mm that group 1 inch at 50 yards, which is really kind of like the gold standard. But ask Steve Huff. Steve Huff can probably chime in. But we'll say accuracy. We'll give it to them both because we're fair here. Sight adjustments. So this is specifically talking about the sight adjustment from long line shots at 50 yards and short line shots at 25. My experience with my 45 platform, I have a sight adjustment elevation with a 6 o'clock hold of from 50 yards to 25 yards of about 4 to 5 clicks, sometimes 6. With this, I don't make any adjustment. That is awesome because if you've ever moved back at parry and forgotten to make your adjustments and you fire that first ring of time fire and you're like, why are all of my rounds perfectly placed in the 7 ring above the bull? Well, now you know. With this, I make no adjustments. I am a tight 6 hold. I'm a essentially a sub 6 hold at 50, and I'm a sub 6 hold at 25 with the 9mm. That gives me, as a competitor, peace of mind So I'm going to say sight adjustments, boom. Now there are those out there, like Hendo, who says, I never made any, I mean, he holds the record. He's like, I never made sight adjustments on my 45. Okay, well, I can't do that. So this is not his board, this is my board. So I'm going to give it to 9mm. Now here's the one that's going to be controversial, because it is lore in the, particularly, I think just in the shooting community, but particularly in the, no, really just in the bullseye community, that you would not want a 9mm bullseye platform in competition, because while the recoil is a little bit less, it's snappy. That's what they call it. It's snappier. And they'll often see, you'll hear like, oh, watch it down the line at Perry, the people who are shooting the Berettas and their hands are going way in the sky. That's my traditional voice, I guess. And I'm going to call BS on this. That it is not true. Okay. In a steel frame gun, the 45 recoils substantially more than the 9mm. The 9mm is quicker in its recoil, so it is quicker up and it is quicker down. But and the ammunition that I'm using, so that's, you know, a broad spectrum, 115 grain, 124 grain, jacketed hollow points. And this, I use the gold standard Atlanta Elite JHP 45 ACP. The 45, you know, kicks harder and takes longer to recover and recoil for me than the 9mm. The 9mm is very, very fast. I'll post up a video that has sort of like pictures of this, and we'll do a more scientific debate. But the recoil on the 9mm is softer and it's faster. Sorry, that's the truth. We'll get to the hand load question in a minute. I can hear you through the internet. Okay, weight. This is pretty obvious. This platform follows sort of the same metrics as this one. Exterior, they are almost identical. But let's go ahead and take a look at the muzzle. Clear. The 9mm is heavier because it has a smaller diameter projectile. So the barrel is thicker. The barrel wall is thicker. That means that throughout the front end of the platform, your platform is going to be heavier. In bullseye, heavier gun typically is a better gun. I can feel the anger. Ammo availability. We have just been through an ammo crisis. We are kind of coming out of it. Primers are hard to find. Everything's hard to find. Obviously, availability is subjective to time. But here, 2022, if you're shopping, it's significantly easier to find 9mm that is going to be accurate just in general. I mean, even Target 9mm is pretty accurate out of a 1911. And it's almost like unobtainium unless you're like just hitting refresh notification on the Atlanta Arms website for 185 grain stuff. But ammo availability, so if you're a consumer shopper of ammo, you're going to want to go 9. Ammo cost. I didn't check at publication, but let's just say, and this is charitable, that a box of Atlanta 45 ACP, the gold standard of this, going to run you about $45. Maybe less. Let's just say $40. All right, you're coming in that sort of like high end per round. This, the round that I use from Atlanta, and as the remanufactured 124 grain jacketed hollow point, was like 35 cents a round. Their Elite, I think, was just 10 cents more than that. Check yourself. But for me, I can buy significantly more ammunition given the same expenditure amount of 9 than I can for 45. More ammo is better than less ammo, but you can get around that by dry fire. So ammo cost. Hand load love. So this goes back sort of to the recoil argument, which is, well, no, ever since the CMP started allowing us to hand load any safe ammunition, I can, on the short line, I can load this up with 185 grain, 200 grain projectiles, as long as they're jacketed, and I can put 3.2 blah, 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 and it's like a mouse fart, and it's the easiest thing in the world. That is true. you can, on the long line, or on the short line, download your 45 to make it very, very pleasant to shoot. But here's the secret. Not only will that give you essentially the same recoil impulse as the just commercial 9mm, but you can also download your 9mm. You could run 148 grain subsonic ammunition at the short line, and I imagine it's going to group a 10 ring or an X ring. So the argument doesn't make sense. That being said, though, I have to say, as a hand loader, in the bullseye community, obviously the 9mm is most popular around. There's all kinds of data out there, but at least in terms of accuracy that you have available at a Google search within the bullseye community, 45 ACP gets it here. Because it's a more standard, it's had more time in the sport, more people have developed, data behind it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to give hand load love to the 45. Available models. I kind of hate this one because 2022 right now, not a lot of makers are out there making 1911s with target sights. They have either moved to combat sights or they have moved to red dot optics, which is awesome because red dots are sweet. But I don't even think Springfield doesn't make the range officer anymore. So really, I think the only option from like just big normal manufacturers is either going to be maybe something from Rock Island or the Colts, right? A Colt national match. It's those. I'm not really going to spend my money on that unless I have to. So in terms of available, I mean, Dan Wesson probably still makes something, but then now we're sort of getting into that higher price point. So available models, I'm going to give it to none of them. None of them rate it because there's really not a whole lot of available models within sort of like the buying realm on the new market for the buying realm of most buyers. So no one gets it there. Sorry. And then finally, the cost of the platform itself. If you find it, we already discussed it's difficult, but generally if you find it, they're going to be exactly the same. So we'll just go ahead and give it to both. So there you go. There you have it. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 45. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the 9. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comments. Math is hard. There you go. So if you are the individual who's out there talking about 1911, 9mm versus 45, and you're in the 22 EIC game, I wholeheartedly, especially if you don't hand load ammo, you should choose 9mm. Let the controversy begin. Okay. Now, so here I promised that I would tell you kind of like where I would go if I was searching at different levels. In the realm of 1911s, you have basically 3 levels. You have production. Well, yeah, we'll do it this way. This is new. You have production. You have semi-production or semi-custom, I guess is what it's called. And you have full custom. This is about how much you're going to spend. $1,000, and I know that might be a little high. $1,000, $2,000, $4,000 to $5,000 for the platform. That's 1, 2, 3. If you are here, good luck finding a platform, right? Because the entry-level models typically are not coming with target sights. If somebody knows of one down there, just hit it up in the comments. If you're in this realm, I think you buy off the used market. I prefer the used market in a lot of ways, but I say you stick with the used. You just go to Bullseye L and you say, hey, interested in EIC platform, and somebody will hook you up. Once you get into the semi-custom, so we're talking Wilson Combat, Wilson Combat, Kimber, Dan Wesson. Really your only option here is going to be Springfield, Colt, Rock Island. The Rock Islands are actually pretty good for the money. Then you have Wilson, Dan Wesson, Wilson, Dan Wesson, Kimber, and somebody else help me out here. And then here you got like just people's names, right? You have like Mike Curtis, Fred Toss, Joe Chambers, Cabot's probably up there, Accuracy X. You got a lot of choices at this realm, right? This is this is what I recommend. If you're in this, get a 9. Maybe try and get it used. Get whatever you can, the best quality you can get used. Or maybe even like eke into a PM9 if you are if you can find one, like a Dan Wesson PM9 if they're still around, or find a used one. But once you decide like this is for me, you know, because you can have work done to this, you can put it in a cart barrel, new bushing, you have somebody work on the trigger. But once you're like, I want it, just skip this one and go straight to custom. Give Joe Chambers a call, give Mike Curtis a call, give Fred Tots a call, Casey Crawford, obviously a great one. Accuracy X, you just whoop, Steve, and then it happened. So that's what I think. That's how we're doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll have a lot more videos coming out. From me to you, target pistol guy, hold hard, shoot straight.